When Mara Ellis returned to Cernyw, the small, storm-bitten coastal village of her childhood, she expected quiet grief, muted condolences, the familiar bite of sea wind. She did not expect the silence. The kind of silence thick enough to feel. Her mother's funeral had been simple. Too simple. No singing. No harp. No tradition. "You should stay the night," the vicar said. But Mara shook her head. She needed time alone. Time to breathe. Time to understand why her mother's final message simply said, "Do not forget the night whisperer." Her childhood home sat on a lone cliff over the roaring grey sea. Salt clung to the windows. Moss crept up the stone. It felt older than memory. Inside, she found her mother's journal on the table. One line was circled again and again. "He walks at dusk. He speaks to those who listen. Never answer him." Mara frowned. Her mother had never been superstitious. So why did this feel like a warning? At dusk, Mara walked to the cliffs. Fog rolled in thick waves. That's when she saw him. A tall figure standing near the edge, unmoving, indistinct, his cloak rippling though no wind blew. He turned his head toward her. Mara froze. His eyes glowed faintly. Silver. Starlit. Unnatural. He lifted a hand, as if greeting her. Mara stumbled back, and he vanished into the fog. At the local pub, conversations halted when Mara entered. The old fisherman, Bryn, approached her. "You saw him, didn't you?" His voice trembled. "Saw who?" Bryn looked toward the window. "The night whisperer." People around them crossed themselves. "He takes those who answer him," someone muttered. "He sings you into the sea," whispered another. "He's not a man," Bryn added. "And not a spirit." "What is he?" Mara asked. Bryn swallowed. "Something older." Mara remained awake late into the night, reading her mother's journal. There were sketches. A man wrapped in mist. Ancient stone circles. The sea swallowing stars. And one page, marked with tears. "I spoke to him once. It cost me everything." Mara shut the book, heart racing. What had her mother done? Just past midnight, Mara heard it. A voice carried on the wind. Soft. Melodic. Calling her name. Mara. She stepped to the window. Fog pressed against the glass like a living thing. The voice came again. "Mara, child of Maeve." Her mother's name. Mara slammed the curtains closed. But the whisper lingered. Determined to understand, Mara hiked to Cernyw, an ancient stone circle hidden deep in the cliffs. Her mother had forbidden her from going there as a child. Now she saw why. The stones hummed. Low. Alive. Like a heartbeat beneath earth. A shadow moved between them. A tall shape. Watching. Then gone. In the village archives, an elderly woman named Era handed Mara a sealed folder. "Your mother left this for you." Inside were brittle papers describing a legend. The night whisperer. A guardian of twilight. A collector of promises. A voice between worlds. He was neither evil nor kind. But he demanded answers. And he never forgot a name. Era gripped Mara's arm. "Whatever you do, do not let him speak your true name." A violent storm tore through the village. Lightning split the sky into jagged cracks. Mara heard the whisper again. Only louder. Clearer. "Mara, open the door." She clutched her blanket, trembling. Outside, the storm abruptly went silent. Footsteps approached her door. Slow. Deliberate. Barefoot. Then, 3 knocks. "Mara, you have something that belongs to me." In a surge of panic and defiance, Mara flung the door open. But no one was there. Only a shape forming in the fog. The night whisperer stepped forward, moonlight catching on his dark hair, his silver eyes reflecting 1,000 unheard stories. "I have waited a long time," he said. His voice was beautiful. Terrifying. Mara backed away. "What do you want?" He smiled faintly. "A promise your mother broke." The night whisperer entered the cottage. Not walking, drifting, as if part of the fog itself. He looked around as though remembering something. Maeve said she would return, he murmured. And she did not. Mara's breath shook. My mother promised you something. Her voice, he said, and her silence. He stepped closer. And now, you owe me one of them. Mara fled from the cottage, running toward the cliffs. She needed air, space. The Whisperer followed silently, his presence like a second pulse behind her. At the cliff edge, memories surged, her mother standing here, crying, whispering into the wind. Mara remembered her asking once, "Do you ever hear voices in the fog?" Mara had said no. Her mother had sighed with relief. Seeking help, Mara visited the lighthouse, home to the solitary keeper, Idris, a man rumored to know every secret of the sea. He stared at her for a long time. You saw him? She nodded. Idris exhaled sharply. The Night Whisperer chooses rarely. He chooses only those who can hear what others cannot. Hear what? The truths the world hides. Mara swallowed. What does he want from me? Idris hesitated. Everything he couldn't take from your mother. Idris revealed the origin. Long ago, before villages existed, people believed in liminal guardians, beings who protected the threshold between the living and the lost. The Night Whisperer was once one of them. A guide. A comfort. Until grief twisted him. He loved a woman, Idris said softly. She drowned at sea. He blamed himself. He tried to cross the threshold to bring her back. And he became trapped between worlds. Neither man nor spirit. A collector of voices that remind him of what he lost. Mara's heart ached. His lonely. Idris nodded. And dangerous. That night, the Whisperer appeared again. Mara, he said gently, why do you run? She stared at him. You stalk me. You threaten me. I only asked for what was promised, he replied. And I have waited centuries for someone who can hear my voice. Mara felt something shift in her chest. Pity. Understanding. Danger. The Whisperer touched her cheek with a cold, fragile hand. I can show you what your mother hid. The world dissolved. Mara found herself standing in the sea, moonlit waves swirling around her. Her mother was there, younger, radiant, standing beside the Whisperer. Mara, her mother whispered, I made a mistake. The Whisperer looked down at her. You promised to stay. I couldn't, her mother said, voice breaking. I loved my daughter more. He touched her cheek, and Mara felt her mother's final emotion. Guilt. Love. Fear. Then the vision shattered. When Mara returned to herself, she was crying. The Whisperer watched her silently. She chose you, he said, over me. There was no anger in his voice, only an ancient sorrow, a wound that had never healed. Mara whispered, she didn't mean to hurt you. For the first time, the Whisperer looked human. Mara, I do not wish to harm you. I only wish for someone to hear me. The next evening, the Whisperer returned. He stood at her window. Mara, he said softly, tell me your true name. She shook her head. Her mother's warnings echoed like thunder. If she gave him her true name, she would be bound to him. Forever. He placed a palm against the glass. You have nothing to fear from me. But fear blossomed in her chest. Because she wasn't afraid of him hurting her. She was afraid of wanting to stay. Idris arrived at the cottage in a panic. You must leave. Tonight. The Whisperer grows stronger each time you answer him, even in silence. Mara clenched her fists. I won't hide forever. You don't understand. Idris cried. He thinks you can heal him, and he will tear the veil between worlds to keep you. The storm surged again, worse than before. Waves exploded against the cliffs. Lightning tore the sky. Mara heard the Whisperer calling her. Not with threat. With pain. Mara, please. She ran outside. The Whisperer stood at the cliff edge, rain slicing through him like he wasn't fully solid. You are the only one who hears me, he whispered. You don't need my name, Mara said softly. You need forgiveness. His form flickered. He looked at her with aching longing. Mara, stay with me. The whisperer reached out, and the two of them slipped into the liminal space between sea and sky. Everything glowed blue, shimmering like water. Mara saw memories that weren't hers. His childhood. His love lost to the sea. His scream when she drowned. His transformation into a thing made of grief. Mara, he said again, voice breaking, don't leave me like she did. Mara stepped closer. You're not alone. He closed his eyes. For the first time, he looked peaceful. The whisperer opened his eyes. If you give me your true name, I will be whole. And what happens to me? You join me. Here. Between worlds. He held out his hand. I will keep you safe. Forever. Mara's heart twisted. A part of her wanted to say yes. But she thought of her mother. Of Idris. Of the village. Of life. Goodbye, she whispered. The whisperer shattered. His scream tore the sky. The world went white. Mara awoke on the cliff, rain pounding her face. The storm had died instantly. The sea was calm. Too calm. The whisperer was gone. A cold ache pulsed through her chest, a strange mixture of relief and grief. She had saved her life, but she had broken his heart. And perhaps, he had broken hers too. Life in Cernyw slowly returned to normal. People smiled again. Idris lit the lighthouse every night. But Mara felt different. Changed. She sometimes heard faint echoes at dusk. Not calling. Just present. A reminder that the whisperer still existed somewhere. Not gone. Just quieter. On her final night in Cernyw, Mara stood on the cliff where it all began. The wind was gentle. The sea glowed silver. And then, a whisper. Mara. Soft. Grateful. Not asking. Just remembering. Mara closed her eyes. I hear you, she whispered. But I must live. The wind stirred her hair, almost like a caress. And then the whisper faded. Not in sorrow, but in peace.